Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be installing another part on my 2019 KTM 300XC, and that is going to be this. This is going to be the new clutch cover. I'm going to put one on here from Hinson Racing. They're pretty popular, and the reason is because this cast piece here that comes from the factory is pretty brittle. If you were to hit it with a rock or dump it over on a rock, it would literally just crack and explode, and all your oil would come out and you'd be screwed. So the billet Hinson Racing piece is much stronger. It's probably lighter and it adds some bling to the bike. It's also coated in a kind of like an anodized coating, maybe a powder coat. It's not powder coat, it's anodized. And it's supposed to be pretty hard and resist wear. There's nothing wrong, to me I think this looks fine, but it's about the protection of the clutch and the bike. So first thing you need to do when you install this is get the oil warmed up. So I need to take this thing on a ride, and that's what I'm going to do, and when I get back I can start working on the bike. Well, the fan works. 175. Alright, so the first step in changing your oil on this bike is you're going to lean it over on its right side after you've gotten it heated up. I took it around the block a couple times and down a little trail off here by my house. So lean it over on its right side. I'm just using the stand here along with the handlebar, and it's not touching anywhere except for the handlebar. So after that, there's a drain plug right here by your shifter. With a copper washer, you're going to remove that and install a little drain tool that they sell from Slavens Racing to get it out past your skid plate. Otherwise, you'll have to take your skid plate off in order to keep from making a mess. Alright, so the first step here to changing the oil on your KTM is going to be getting it warmed up. And then after you've got it warmed up, you're going to lean it over on a stand like I've got here. I'm leaning the right handlebar on the stand. And then I'm going to use a 13mm hex head to remove the drain bolt for the crankcase, or for the transmission, which is right here below the shifter. And then I'm going to use this Tokyo off-road tool that they sell from Slavens Racing. And that's going to thread in, and then I'll be able to drain it without getting any oil on my skid plate. Now this is a magnetic tip, and the bike is brand new. It's got the original oil, so you can see just how much metal is in this, which is probably not too much. It should go down over time as you keep changing the oil and you wear the clutches in. So I'm going to set that aside. And I'm going to go ahead and thread in my drain tool. Alright, now with my oil pan ready to go and I've got my drain tool in, I'm going to remove the little red plug here. Set this pan up here. To increase the speed of this, I'm going to open the oil cap here on the right side of the bike. You can see the fluid coming out. It should be 0.8 quarts. The oil is actually pretty clean. I've got, let me see how many hours I've got on the bike. Alright, so I've got 1.6 hours on the bike. The manual actually calls for you to change this oil every 5 hours, but I've been told by the shop, or by the dealer, and by two dealers, that the service managers believe in actually changing their oil after, if they race, change it after every ride, and if you go on a trip, change it after every trip. So it's confusing. I think you can sometimes over-maintain a vehicle, and I think I'm going to stick to the manual and just change it every 5 hours. The first oil change is the most important because that's when you have the most wear in on the bike. So at 1.6, I'm going to change it again at 6.6. So at this point, most of our oil is drained. I'm going to go ahead and reinsert this cap. I'm going to lean the bike back over. Go ahead and take my drain tool back out. I'm going to go ahead and clean off my drain plug. Make sure it's free of all debris. Go ahead and reinsert this. I'm not sure what the torque is. It's probably in the manual, but I'm just going to go ahead and snug it down. Lift the bike back up. Alright, so the next step here, once you've got the oil drained out and the oil drain bolt reinserted, is you're going to put your bike back on your stand, kind of make sure it's level. And there's a number of T30 torques that you're going to remove for removing this case. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts. They're all accessible without removing the brake. However, the spring that goes on the cover here is going to be removed because you're going to have to put that on the new cover. What I'm going to do is just go ahead and remove the cover and then get the spring off afterwards. Alright guys, so here's the new clutch cover we're installing. This is the Hinson Racing clutch components cover here. The part number on this one for this 2019 is C700-1801, and this fits the 250 and 300 XC and XCW bikes. So unboxing it, you get a little, I think, instruction pamphlet, and then the actual cover. It's very light. It's billet aluminum. It's got a billet aluminum plug. Same bolt pattern, which you want to verify before you go taking the old one off. And you can see it's got the little spring perch here, just like this one does. So, alright, so you're going to need a T30 Torx with an extension and a ratchet. And we're going to go ahead and start breaking these loose. Alright, we've got them all broken loose, all 7, and they're not in there very tight. Again, I don't know what the torque spec is, but it's probably in the manual. Keep in mind these bolts are different lengths. There's 1, 2, now the third one is extremely long. The fourth one is long. The fifth one is short. I'm going to take the 7th one out first, since the 6th one has the spring on it. Seventh one is long, and the 6th one is short. So it goes short, short, long, long, short, short, long, clockwise. We're going to remove the clutch cover from the spring. There you go. And there's the old clutch cover. You see it has an O-ring on the inside. You want to make sure that O-ring is in good shape. The new one and the difference. There's your clutch. So what we're going to do is go ahead and use this little pick here to remove the O-ring. Make sure you have them orientated the same way. And then there's only one way this gasket can go in here. Make sure you seat the O-ring down in the groove correctly. Now run your finger around the O-ring and make sure it's seated. If it's not, you'll feel it click in. So our new cover, O-ring is installed. Now what you're going to do is go ahead and get your spring started. Now that you got your spring started, go ahead and orientate your clutch cover. Go ahead and get my first bolt started here. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my 6th bolt on here. So I got my first bolt started and my 6th bolt started. I'm going to go ahead and kind of snug these down a little bit, so it doesn't move. Go ahead and go in order now. My 2nd bolt. third bolt is the first long one. Fourth one. Fifth bolt, which is short. And my seventh bolt, which is the last long one. Alright, now that I've got the bolts all started by hand, I'm just going to go ahead and snug them down in a cross pattern, and I can check the torque later. I'm going to start with this one. Go down here. Alright guys, so that'll do it. We've got this installed now. Now the next step here is to obviously refill the oil. I haven't checked the manual, but I think that it is actually 0.8 quarts is how much this takes. So there's actually an oil fill bolt here, right behind the spring on the brake, and you're going to remove that bolt, and then you're going to remove this fill cap, and you're going to fill the fluid until you get oil coming out of there, and then you're going to plug that up and put the cap on, and you're done. Alright guys, so referring to my manual on the gear oil, it says that it takes 0.85 quarts of 1550 weight gear oil. Alright, so the first step here is you want to remove your oil fill level plug, which means you're going to use the T30 here with an extension. Go behind your spring and remove the oil level plug. Okay, so I've now removed my oil fill plug. It has a little copper washer on it. Put this aside. Now, what I'm using here, as recommended by the dealer, is the Motorex 1550 weight 4-stroke synthetic performance oil. This is actually used in the 4-stroke KTMs as the crankcase oil, and it's also used in the 2-strokes as the gear case oil. So it's 1 liter, which means it's like 33 ounces. So if I'm using 27.2 ounces, I should have about 4 ounces left. I'm going to go ahead and remove the oil fill plug using a 13 millimeter hex. Set this aside. Now on this Motorex, it comes with a convenient little kind of fill funnel. Alright. Again, confirm this is 1550 motor 4-stroke motor oil. Go ahead and start filling. And you want to fill until it starts coming out of the oil level plug there. Alright, I've got oil coming back out now. It took basically 0.85 just like it said it would. Go ahead and thread this. Snug it down. Go ahead and wipe off engine case. Go ahead and reinsert the fill plug. There you have it guys, that's all it takes. Probably took me about an hour in total with filming, and never having done this before, including installing the new cover. In the future when I change my oil, it'll probably take me 15 minutes. So that's it. Good maintenance is key. Like the manual says, every 5 hours change your oil out. Cheap and inexpensive maintenance, and should keep your bike running for a long time. And this cover is obviously a lot stronger than the stock one. It looks a lot better too, and I think it was worth it. Thanks for watching guys.